Good evening, and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Stephen, the independent thinker, Keith, the constitutional conservative, and my cousin Todd. We've got a packed show for you tonight as we play catch up from missing a week last week. President-elect Trump is now President Trump, as Stephen is very excited to say.
Yeah,
We
he
have a
always.
president. Ohio State beats Notre Dame. President Trump starts his presidency with sweeping reform. NFL playoffs, what are your predictions? Some Israeli hostages were released. Will this deal between Israel and Gaza hold? Todd and tennis, as he discusses the Australian Open. The norovirus outbreak reported at a shelter for California wildfire evacuees. The Boston Celtics beat the Warriors at the Warriors' home. House of Representatives. Besides taking part in all the inauguration activities, they have a debt problem to deal with. President Trump turns TikTok back on, just like a light switch. Vivek Ramaswamy is leaving Dodge to run for governor of Ohio, and more if we can fit it in. First up, let's talk about the NFL playoffs. And particularly the NFL playoffs. Stephen, I'll let you talk about what your team is doing.
We have the Washington Redskins are making history with their rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. He's amazing. He's got special things he's been doing since college to get ready for this. He does all kinds of new age kind of funky, not new age, but electronic stuff that he does. And it's really helping him a lot. He's come out just on fire, and it's just really calm, really cool. We won. We beat Detroit. We beat the number one seed. Nobody thought we could beat them, and we beat them handedly, beat them well, and in their own house. Well, then I was wondering who would we have to play, the Eagles or the Rams, and just for the weather, I would like to go to LA, but I think we got enough to have a competitive game and possibly win this game. Barkley worries me a lot. They really have to concentrate on him. I think overall the Eagles have a better team, but I think we have the better quarterback right now, and maybe a couple of things here and there. But it's going to be really competitive. This could be the game of the weekend. I'm going to go out to watch it. I'm not going to be in Philly. Maybe Aguna will, but we've been waiting a long time for this since '91. It's real, almost like the Lions. We had some success earlier in the '80s. Were good, but it's been a really long time since we've had a good team to cheer for. And it's nice to be in the game, win, lose, or draw. It's just nice to be there, and I'm so glad. I told Stacey last week. I said I hope that we get to play each other in the next game, and it came out that way. So it's a lot of fun. This is going to be great for everybody. I think a lot of people will be rooting for the Washington Redskins, and that's cool. If you want to jump on there. Even a Dallas fan today said, "Man, we're all over y'all. We want y'all to win so much." So okay, we'll take it. And but y'all are formidable. And like I said, Saquon Barkley is a freak, and I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get two touchdowns at least. So they got to find a way to put him. But one little thing is Hurts is hurt a little bit. So it depends on how he is. If he's not 100%, that doesn't help them much at all. And if the weather's really kind of bad, it kind of equalizes the team a little bit. So it's going to be it's really up in there. Right now we're at a 5.5 point underdog. I will take all of those 5.5 points. I'd even take it at 4.5 because I think it's going to be maybe a 3-point game either way. I think it's going to be really competitive, a lot of fun, and hope to win on my team. I know you're excited, aren't you, Stacey, that they got this far?
I'm very excited. They played that game yesterday. Was it yesterday I watched it, or was it the day before? I get the days mixed up. I think it was the day before, right?
Day
Sunday.
before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was sloppy. It was sloppy. It was sloppy. I think Hertz played okay, but it was slippery. And I think the only things that saved us because um uh the team was on us like white on rice and they were all over us. The only thing that saved us was that the weather was slippery and everyone was catching balls and sliding. They couldn't stop. You know what I mean? They
Right.
tried to do, they were doing runs, but they tried to do cuts. Even our players were doing cuts when they did their runs, which they had no business doing, and slipped and fell. And that caused us to make a few mistakes and not get the downs that we were supposed to get. We kept throwing the ball instead of running the ball. One ad or one video I saw was of Saquon Barkley saying to Jalen Hurts, "Hey, I got this, I got this." And then Jalen handed him the ball,
Yeah.
and he ran and I think he definitely made the first down, but he may have made a touchdown or that he brought it pretty close to the goal line. So, I think they should have run the ball more as opposed to throwing it. We waited to the last minute. I mean, and I think this is the coach's fault. This is the offensive coach's fault because it seems like the defense has to go and clean up what the offense has done. The offensive coaches try to run the balls. And then we've got that offensive coach that Jerry Jones from the Dallas Cowgirls wants back to run the offense for Dallas next season.
Mm.
For him to, and for the powers that be within the offensive coaching staff to keep throwing the ball, especially during a snow blizzard. It wasn't just
Right.
like few raindrops coming down. That was a windy blizzard that definitely, affected the trajectory of the balls being thrown. Matter of fact, our kicker, who I love, who wears a number 4, which is the same number 4 I wear for myself for my Eagles jersey, he missed like 2 or 3 kicks. I mean, and I think it had to do with the wind.
Oh yeah.
So for them to want to throw the ball as opposed to running it was ridiculous because every time they went to throw that ball, or most of the times when they went to throw the ball, Jalen didn't have as much time in the pocket as he thought he did. And I think he didn't have as much time in the pocket as he thought he did because of the weather. And the offensive line, we got the biggest offensive line against the Rams. There's no doubt about it. But, those guys probably lost their footing, and that caused Jalen not to have as much time in the pocket. And he got sacked like what, 3 or 4 times?
Right.
So, if he had handed that ball off, if he had handed that ball off as opposed to trying to throw it and getting sacked, we probably would not have had that problem.
Right.
Then we waited till last minute. We threw the ball. We didn't make the yardage we were supposed to make, and they got the ball at the end. I think it was like a minute left, and the defense came in and big play. Slay made some really good plays. Our defense made some really good plays so that we, could eventually get that ball back and run the timeout. I don't understand why Philadelphia didn't run the ball and run the timeout. Instead, they threw the ball. They kept having Jalen throw the ball to do some sort of, I guess, long Hail Mary so they could go right into touchdown. No, they should have been running that ball, wearing the clock down, and making it impossible for the team to score. But no, that's not what they did. They allowed the other team to get the ball, and then our defense had to come in here, fight, play hard, right? And cause them to make mistakes, put pressure on the quarterback, which what our defense, was right to do, put pressure on the quarterback so that he would make a mistake and we could get the ball back. And eventually that happened. So it was a tough game. I think it didn't have to go that way. I think the best way would have been to run the clock out, play it safe, run the ball. The weather was bad, but a win is a win. As Aguna would say, a win is a win.
Yeah. You take
Um,
it.
We'll take it because that takes us to where? Let me share my screen where it takes us. It takes us to a great place. NFL playoff schedule. It takes us to the NFL conference championships. Do you see the screen?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. So it takes us next Sunday at our house because all of the playoffs have been at our house. At
Hmm.
our house, we've got advantage. We take on the Commanders next Sunday at 3 o'clock, and the Chiefs take on the Bills at 6:30. That's gonna be an incredible Sunday. I can't wait. I can't believe it's January 26th that fast. Can you?
No, it's awesome. It's
And
awesome.
our team, Stephen, will be playing against your team. So you know who I'm betting for, right? The
Yeah,
Philadelphia
but
Eagles.
I know. Well, you know what? This past week, I had the Eagles in a four-way parlay. I won huge on. I had Jalen getting a touchdown. I had Saquon getting a touchdown. I had Jalen running over 37 and a half yards. And I had Jalen throwing, I think, for under 197 yards. All of it came true. All of it hit for me. And I'm just screaming for the Eagles as much as you are because I had hit my big parlay. And I also had Washington when the game started. I texted my son. I said, "You better bet Washington to win because they're going to win." And so I bet them. I bet Washington to win on two different bets while the game was on, live betting. I said that was early in the first quarter. I said Redskins gonna win this game. It's good. They got it. And he's like, no way, no way. I said, yeah, they got it.
So, we are pretty close. And during the divisional, rounds, I was really surprised that the Commanders beat the Lions. Now, my father was not impressed with the Lions over this past season, but the Lions have come back from a lot of diversity and a lot of problems, and they've done really, really well.
Yeah,
So when they
number one
lost
seed,
at home,
number one seed.
right. And when they lost at home, I was really, really surprised and saddened for them because, that team really, it means a lot to the city of Detroit. And Detroit, I think, was really looking forward
Oh
to
yeah,
win. So, and then
devastating.
for you guys to come in now, your quarterback, I like your quarterback. But I don't know if you have the right defense to be able to really beat the Eagles.
Like we don't match up that well. That's why they're gonna have to scheme, do things different, bring in different packages this week, plan new things that the Eagles have not seen yet. They have to be really smart and make adjustments on the fly and make adjustments at halftime. That's what they're gonna have to do. And I think it's gonna be very competitive because if we can be competitive with a firepower that Detroit has, we should be competitive here. And it's probably going to be better. I don't even know what the weather is. So that kind of equalizes things out for everybody.
Right. I think it's going to be cold. I don't think it's going to snow, but I tell you what, you guys beat us the last time you met up with us, which was a really, really shock. So, but I think this time we are going to be waiting for you. We're not going to be caught on a sneak tip like that. And it's too much to lose. We have the NFC conference championships. And I know Todd doesn't know the difference between the NFC and the AFC, but we have the NFC conference championships and then the
Yeah.
AFC conference championships. And then the Super Bowl. We're pretty close. And
Yeah.
this time, I don't think we're going to let you spoil it for us.
Well, we'll see. You have the running back. You have the running back. You have the
Yes.
defense, but we have the coach and we have the quarterback.
Yeah, but we
So,
got a big offensive line too. And if the
yeah,
weather isn't snowing like this,
right.
Jalen's going to have plenty of time in the pocket. Like you said, he did some
Sure.
things that he shouldn't have done, and he injured, I think that was his left knee.
Mhm.
And I sure hope that looked really bad, but I'm sure he's not going to let that stop him from playing. He's got too much, riding on this, and he's worked too hard all season to let that stop him from playing. So I hope he is nursing his knee this week, and looking forward to a good match here in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Have
And
you heard any medical?
make it to the Super Bowl.
Have you heard any medical information on Jalen yet, or is it
I
too
have not.
soon? I think it's too soon.
I have not.
We'll see. Me
We'll
neither.
see. Cousin Todd, are you ready? Cousin Todd I don't know where he is. Did you want to talk about college football and Notre Dame losing to Ohio State? Steven, did you want to talk about
Yeah. That hurt. And I wanted a really good game. More than anything, I wanted a good game. And then I got off of Notre Dame last week. Then I took them this week with getting 8.5 points in a game that should have been slow. I had the under. It turned into hot garbage. Took half the money I won when I won with the Eagles. But it was hard to watch. And then it got so bad, I just turned it back to watch the inauguration and like the second ball, third ball, fourth ball. Went all night long. It was crazy. It's pretty much a spectacle. So that was more fun than watching a football game that was out of hand. And all the praise to Ohio. They deserved the win. They played well. They really impressed me, and that'll just be on to next year. They lost to Michigan this year. After they did that, nobody could touch them. Like I said, it hurt them so bad.
Right. Yeah, it did. Pretty good game. Surprising. I love college football, but I don't like the playoff times with the bowls. I don't understand these bowls. I want them to say, stop. I said that years ago. Stop with this bowl stuff. Chick-fil-A bowl. What is it? Outback bowl, orange bowl. Teriyaki bowl, all sorts of bowls. Look, just have playoffs. I mean, the NFL, we don't say, the East Coast Bowl, the West Coast Bowl, the South.
But that's a tradition. But that's tradition, and they make a lot of money. The schools, they're getting sponsored.
They're going to make a lot of money.
I think they got it from Rose Bowl, in Pasadena. The Rose Bowl.
Right. And you can't do away with the Rose Bowl.
They're still going to make a lot of money. And you even have Bill Belichick, right, down there in North Carolina trying to coach in North Carolina, but he's got one foot out the door hoping that an NFL team will come pick him up when, it may or may not happen. We'll see. But those guys are still, college teams are still going to make a ton of money.
Oh, yeah, they're making money, but anybody that makes a ton of money want to make a ton more money and a ton more money and a ton. They're not going to turn it down. And the tradition of it all, that's tradition they can't get rid of. They're going to still have the playoffs, but they have to call them these bowls. The big ones that's been around.
I don't know who played in the Rose Bowl. I mean, UCLA was really close to those Fires, so I don't know.
It won't UCLA.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let me move on. I want to move on. Cousin Todd, are you ready?
Cousin Todd.
He's in Australia, isn't he? Isn't he in Australia? The time is different there.
He's in Australia with the Australian Open, so I guess we'll get back to him.
He's probably getting beat up. He's getting beat up by a kangaroo.
Let's move.
They're good boxers.
Strong.
They're pretty big too.
Yeah.
Let's move to Israel, the Israel-Gaza situation. Just a moment. Let me share my screen. All right, here we go.
Between Israel and Hamas is now underway. 3 Israeli hostages have just been released in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and much needed aid in Gaza. Jenna DeAngelis has a closer look at this historic moment. She joins us now with more. Jenna.
Jessica, just an incredible and, as you said, highly awaited moment. The 3 women were taken for medical assessment, but President Biden said they appear to be in good health. They're the first of 33 hostages set to be released over a 6-week period, according to the ceasefire deal, which will be in 3 phases. New photos show 3 women finally out of Hamas captivity, safe in their mother's arms, shared by Israel's government with the caption, "There's nothing stronger than a mother's embrace. Welcome home, Emily, Daron, and Romy." Emotional reunions for Emily Damari, Daron Steinbrecher, and Romy Gonen and their families and friends who have waited 471 days for this moment. Video from earlier Sunday shows Hamas handing over the hostages to the Red Cross in a packed Gaza City. Drone footage shows crowds of people surrounding the vehicles during their release. And this long-awaited moment, their safe arrival in Israel, hands it over to the IDF. Hundreds of Israelis celebrated in Tel Aviv while watching a live broadcast from Gaza. Among them, friends of Emily Damari.
We've seen her walking on her 2 feet, and we're just waiting here to hug her and say how much we love her.
Once this door opens, it must not close. We must let all 97 hostages, now 94, come back home to their families.
The 3 Israeli hostages are the first of 33 that Hamas is expected to free during the first phase of the long-awaited ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. During each exchange, after the hostages have arrived safely, Palestinian prisoners will be released. Buses arrived at a prison in the West Bank to pick some up. White House National Security Coordinator Brett McGurk on Face the Nation Sunday.
Hamas owed the list of the 3 names that had to happen for the ceasefire to go into effect. That was delayed a couple hours. It eventually happened, and now we have the news today. You have a full ceasefire in effect in Gaza. You have about 800 trucks of aid getting into Gaza today.
Aid trucks could be seen crossing into the Gaza Strip at the Rafah crossing from Egypt on Sunday. Under the negotiated deal, the ceasefire would be in 3 phases. President Biden with more on the first phase.
4 more women will be released in 7 days. 3 additional hostages every 7 days thereafter, including at least 2 American citizens in this first phase. We pray for them and their families.
The first phase will last 42 days, but 2 weeks in, negotiations on the far more difficult second phase is set to begin. The next release of hostages is expected on Saturday. Jessica.
All right, Jenna, thank you. And we will stay on top of all the developments coming out of the Middle East. Look for continuing coverage right here on CBS News.
Okay, let me start with you, Keith. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families who are not, whose family members did not get released from this deal. So do you think this 3-part deal between Israel and Gaza will hold up? It's a very fragile process, Keith.
Well, yeah, because Trump is in office now. So yes, they're now ready to talk about deals. Because if Trump had not won, believe me, it would still be going on as usual. But I thought it was an observation here when you showed that video. I thought it was kind of unusual. I don't know the situation, but there is a culture of violence in that part of the world that is amazing, because you had crowds of people surrounding the van and surrounding Hamas. Those guys, those soldiers or whatever, those Hamas terrorists, the guys with the green and they were the ones with their guns. I mean, crowds of people. I mean, just imagine if everybody was with a concerted effort would just rush those guys, take them down and kill them. That would be, I think that would be great. But anyway, that's just an observation of mine. That's all. Yet they're so used to the culture of violence. And yet they can't just go and do away with these people. They're just used to it. They're used to it. So, that's the way it is, I guess.
Cousin Todd, this is a very fragile deal with anything could happen at any time that would stop the process. But, I can imagine how the families feel who did not, who were not able to come back alive. This is very, very tough for them. Your comments?
Yeah, it is. I mean, to lose a family member in that tragic way it's all horrible. Though I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu handled it well. But it's a tragedy all the way around for the Palestinians as well as the Israelites.
Okay, Stephen.
Well, it shows you who the bad guys are in this situation, because Hamas has innocent people who did nothing to anybody. They're as innocent as you can get. And Israel only has people who are terrorists who have murdered multiple people over, and if they let them out, they're going to do it again. That shows. And then we had people in this country that are so smart, but they can't think for themselves. They can't reasonably think for themselves, because they terrorize Jews through Ivy League schools, through leftist schools, all through our country for months. They terrorized innocent Jewish people because they're not independent thinkers. But they're really smart. They can take a test, but they can't think for themselves. Say, wait a minute, I'm the bad guy here. I'm doing what they did in Nazi Germany. This is what's been happening in this country. Thank God we won the election. Thank God we're going to have some common sense. Thank God we're going to have people who are actually decent people running the show and wouldn't let anything like this happen. Because they say the Trump people, they're the Hitler. They're Hitler. No, Hitler. We just got done with Hitler. That side condoned terrorizing and beating up innocent Jewish students in our country. Think about that. That's crazy. So we know who the bad guys are, and no, Stacey. Unfortunately,
Okay,
will
he
never stop.
can't just
Stacey,
ramble
wait a
on.
minute.
He's got to
Stacey,
finish.
it'll never
How
stop.
long
It'll
are you going to allow him to talk?
answer your question. It'll never stop because Hamas and Palestinian people, whatever, they will not stop until they take every Jew out of that area. They do not want the Jews there. That's why they will not stop doing what they're doing, and that's why this is temporary. I'm glad we're getting some people.
Now,
I'm glad we're
Stacey,
getting some people back.
Timing each other to see
But I'm
how
glad we're
long
getting some people
each one
back.
speaks.
But it's
Because
not
this
going to
can't
last.
go on. He can't talk for a half an hour like you would say
You
to
wouldn't
me.
stop. You wouldn't
He
stop
can't
Aguna
talk
from
for a half
talking,
an
Todd.
hour.
You wouldn't interrupt
that.
Aguna.
Yeah, at least 12 men from San Diego County were arrested and charged for their actions on January 6th. All but 4 of them had already pleaded guilty. Those 4 other cases were still working their way through the court system, but now all 12 defendants will have a clean criminal record.
President Trump began his second term in the same building that 4 years ago saw scenes like this. The roughly 1,500 defendants President Trump just pardoned include 174 defendants charged with using a deadly or dangerous weapon against police. During the breach of the Capitol, a Capitol police officer died and more than 140 were injured. So how will this play out? Most of the rioters, 700 people, were sentenced without any prison time or have already finished their sentences. That dynamic is also true locally. Here in San Diego, only 6 men were sentenced to any jail time, and only 2 had to serve sentences longer than 1 year, including one man from Carlsbad who admitted to attacking several officers. He was about 2 years into a 6-year jail sentence. That is, until today. These long-anticipated pardons haven't been met with much support on Capitol Hill.
He will begin his new administration the way he ended his last administration.
Earlier this month, California Senator Adam Schiff told NBC's Kristen Welker that Trump making good on pardoning insurrectionists would send a terrible message about democracy, lawlessness, and people who attack police officers.
Exactly the wrong message on, and the wrong way to start out an administration.
San Diego's U.S. Attorney's Office played a huge role in getting dozens of these cases through the legal system. Earlier this month, the DOJ announced that a San Diego trial team of 5 federal prosecutors and an intelligence analyst handled more than 60 cases involving defendants from across the country. Defendants that, of course, as of today, are now free men, if they weren't already. Alexis Rivas, NBC 7.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with Stephen. Let's start with Stephen, then Keith. Stephen, I want to ask you this.
Good.
If there were protesters in Richmond, Virginia, and they were protesting maybe the VCU University of Richmond game, and they didn't like the way it came out, and the police came to break it up because it got a little wild, and they started attacking the police. The protesters started attacking the police. Would they be in their rights not to be arrested?
In 2020, Richmond was on fire. We were taken over by BLM and Antifa, and our Richmond police department didn't intervene. People were getting ripped out of their cars, getting beat up because of the color of their skin. They were setting buses on fire. They set buildings on fire, and none of them got in trouble. None of them, because a guy had died of a fentanyl overdose. So they had to go terrorize everybody. That's what they did. That's what Antifa did. And a lot of the Antifa, most of the Antifa and most of the BLM never got charged with anything. They did all the violence. There was no real violence, and no cop died from the result of January 6th or on January 6th. The media is lying to you. And this is all going to come out now because they're not going to control the narrative anymore. I saw one place that said 5 cops died that day. That's not true either. If any cops died that day, somebody would have got charged with capital murder. We would have heard about somebody murdering a cop. No cops died on that day, and they didn't die as a result. There was a cop that committed suicide a couple of days later. There was a cop that had a health issue the next day, but it was not related to January 6th. Your media on the left is lying to you, and all of that's coming out now, and that's the truth. And Todd, you're gonna have to kiss my foot when you find out the truth, because all you know is lies. You're
look
swimming in
at that
lies.
weirdo. Look at that
You're
weirdo.
swimming in a
Look
lies
at
in a
that
bowl of
weirdo.
feces.
Ah,
All you know is lies, brother.
my
Okay,
You don't
God.
know the truth. I know the truth.
Keith,
No, Stacy, they don't. Stacy, that was
you talk.
provoked. They provoked
Okay,
those
I let you
people.
talk. I let you
All
talk.
right, go ahead.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
our thoughts and prayers go out to those who lost their homes during the wildfires in California. We know you're out in California. If there were protesters protesting the way the governor of California and the mayor of Los Angeles handled the response efforts for these fires, and then the protesters turned on the police and people they were protecting, would they be wrong, and would they be arrested?
Well, they were not arrested because I believe Stephen can back me up on this. In 2020, it was just before COVID. During that time, Antifa and Black Lives Matter were very active in Santa Monica, California, and they were burning down businesses. They burned down businesses, and they also killed. I think there was this black officer, retired officer,
Yeah,
big
right.
guy. They killed him,
Mhm.
and they
Yeah,
also killed. They also attacked officers. So
yeah.
they were not arrested. There
No.
you are. And I just
And they
wonder,
did
though.
so much more damage and hurt so many more people than
That's right.
January 6th. January
That's
6th
right.
is bogus. January 6th is garbage, because that's
Yeah.
all they got. It's going to come out, Stacey, and y'all going to look
Yeah.
really stupid.
Okay,
They've
Not a
been
single one was
suppressing.
arrested.
They've been suppressing.
Okay, Stephen, we let
And
you talk.
and
Nobody interrupted you.
Why?
And
one
this was
other
Keith's
one other
opportunity.
point. I want to make one other point. It's interesting to note that Trump he issued an order. He issued the commuted the sentence when he for January 6 people, some of them, and he did say that those who did commit violence ought to be get their due. So he did admit that. But then the people that he commuted, it seems that they are refusing to release. Am I correct on that, Stephen? Or
You're right. On some of them, like in the DC jail, the worst jail, yeah, they're stopping it. This is what they do.
yeah,
They screw with these people constantly. They put them in solitary confinement. NBC just now was trying to say how nice they are. They're not nice to these people. They've been treated horribly. They've been tortured. A lot of them
yeah.
have killed themselves for the treatment they have. They lost their homes. They lost their families. They lost their jobs. They lost
Okay,
everything they had.
Stacey,
And they were
Okay,
put
he
in there.
keeps
okay.
They
going,
were put
I'm
in there for
leaving.
walking around with their
If you
phones.
allow him to keep going, I'm leaving. I'm not going
You
to
can,
tolerate crazy,
he cannot
and while
take too
you
much
allow
truth at
this,
once.
Okay, go
you
Come
ahead,
on,
Cousin
tell
cannot
some
Todd.
allow
lies.
this.
Tell some lies.
Now, this is your first and last warning. If you allow him to be crazy and babble on without stopping him, I'm leaving the show, and I'm not warning you again. I can't deal with crazy. I'm not going to be on Jerry Springer's show. I refuse. So now, Stephen and Keith sang a different
Okay,
song
wait a
when
minute.
this.
Todd, wait, stop right there. Before you go on,
Mhm,
and based on what you just said to me,
mhm.
don't egg Stephen and Keith on.
I'm not doing anything except
I'm telling
exposing
you,
them for
don't
exactly
egg
who
them
they
on,
are.
because then you're
They
asking
said,
for it.
I don't care he can do what he does. I'll be gone. Um, when this happened, and you can find our show, we were on Blog Talk Radio then. uh, we were on Tuesdays. So the Tuesday after January 6th, you will hear Stephen and Keith saying something totally different.
Right.
Just like you heard Congress say something totally different from Matt Gaetz on. They were talking about Trump allowing this to happen, and he was derelict in duty, and the courts will take care of him, and blah, blah, blah. And even Fox News was saying how he was derelict in duty. And this is people like Steve Bannon, not Steve Bannon, Sean Hannity, just the whole litany of Fox News reporters. And because they were calling him, telling him to stop this, and calling friends of his, telling them to stop it. And so Stephen and Keith said he should have stopped it. Stephen and Keith said those people should go to jail. Those people who were, because Stephen himself said they're Antifa. They were Antifa. Okay. I said, okay, if they were Antifa, do you think they should go to jail? He said yes. His boyfriend Keith said yes. And so
Okay,
now
I said
they
don't egg
switched
them
it.
on. That's not his boyfriend. Keith is married.
How do
Stop
you
doing that?
Yeah, but he's, well, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say it. Just forget I said anything. So anyway, they said something totally different. All the
We did.
Republicans said something totally different. So then they said it was Antifa dressed up as Trump supporters. And so they should go to jail because they had no business breaking into the building. That's what they said. Keith said, I have a friend who went, but she didn't do that. She didn't go into the building and do all that. She wouldn't do that because she's got good sense. I said to Keith, she's got good sense. But the people that broke those windows and banged and beaten up the police, they both agreed they should be in jail.
Yeah, well, they
all of
also,
a sudden we
we also-
backtracked and said,
We have, but we
no.
got more information. All we saw was what the media showed us. We got more information down the road.
And so that brings me to my question. If you're rational, sensible, intelligent people, are you still saying that the people that did violence to police and the people that broke windows and bashed in doors and bashed police should be in jail?
The people that bashed the windows and bashed the doors were FBI. The people who did that were FBI.
I didn't see. This is the
It's already been proven. It's already been proven.
And this
They've admitted it. There was a lot of FBI there.
So, Stacey,
and Antifa has FBI and Antifa as well, Todd.
You can't put your head down and pretend like you're reading or whatever you're doing. You have to hear that voice and say, shut your mouth or you're leaving the show.
You've talked more than anybody tonight. You've talked more than anybody.
No, let him talk, Stephen. Come on.
He's talked more than I have.
So
and
now,
I'm not crying.
Shut up. So he didn't answer the question. So I'm no longer talking to him. I'm only talking to Keith.
I'm going to leave.
So Keith, no, I said you will leave.
I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave.
You're going to leave. Stacey is going to throw you off the show if
Todd,
you
go
continue
on
to
with your
interrupt.
point. Stop antagonizing him, Todd. Just go on with your point.
So it's funny you should say that, but you
The
didn't.
point's on top of his head. That's why he wears a hat.
Mouth. So do you see how stupid he is? And this is the Jerry Springer coming out. And I don't want to be on a Jerry Springer show. All of my friends said, don't bring yourself down like that. I don't know you anymore. So anyway, the point is, Keith, you said the people that did that damage, that fought the police should be in jail. Do you still agree, Keith, that the people that fought the police and did damage to the building should still be in jail?
Yes,
no?
if that's the case, I said it, and so did Trump. And so did the vice president.
The vice president said that. Trump let them out. So never mind what a person says. Watch what they do. The vice president said if they did any damage to the building or to fight the police, they should be in jail. They should not be pardoned. Trump pardoned them anyway.
They didn't do any damage to the building. That was always a lie. The next day they said they did $1.5 million worth of damage. It was zero damage. We don't do that. Your people do that. Your Black Lives Matter does that.
Why is he talking? So did you play the clip of them breaking the window? You just played that clip, right?
That's a clip that big.
And so they broke the windows to get into the, and Keith knows that, but this is why Keith is smiling like that, because he's laughing at his boy toy that keeps pretending like he can't see. You saw them breaking windows and beating up the police. And that's why Keith just said, yes, they should be in jail. So at least Keith is consistent.
Trump said they've been in jail. They've been in jail and treated wrong long enough. Trump said they've been treated wrong long enough. They
All
don't
right.
treat murderers like this. They don't treat rapists the way they've treated these people.
Okay, so
Well,
executive
Stacy,
orders
before
that
you go,
President
Stacy,
Trump.
before you
No,
go,
wait.
Stacy,
No. Go ahead.
one more thing I had to say.
Go ahead.
It was very important.
What
Just
is
Todd,
it?
also, really, it's very important because remember, Biden just released, remember, 37 murderers, convicted murderers. Does Todd think that's okay?
Well, he just
If
took
you
him
could
off
ask.
of death row. He just took him off of death row.
Oh, he didn't. Okay, so he didn't commute. He didn't. So you're saying
Right.
he didn't commute him? He did not.
He didn't. Yeah, they're still in jail. But a couple of them want to get. They don't want that. They want to get fried. A couple of them said, "We don't want your crap, Joe. We want to die."
Well,
So
is that
you
okay,
see,
Todd?
you see, Stephen, Keith, you see how dumb you are. Your boy toy just had to straighten you out and say you've been watching
Well,
too much Fox News.
We had to get something
Move
straight
on.
between us.
But I
Move
still want to
on.
know. I just want to know because
I
I
don't
don't
think they
think
got
you
it.
should. I don't even think they
Stacey,
should be
move on. Of course
Okay,
you
I
taken
have
don't.
off of death row.
I have moved on. So let me share my screen.
You're
Of
concerned
course you
about
don't
police
think
getting
that
beat up,
because
but you don't care about a person who's murdered somebody.
Okay,
So
so
I
if you
can't.
look
I
at the
can't go with that.
screen, President Trump, his executive orders, this one order, can you see it? Let me make it bigger. Executive orders targeting DEI and transgender Americans. President Trump established Monday that it is the policy of the United States to recognize two sexes, male and female, on official documents. These sexes are not changeable and are grounded in fundamental and incontrovertible reality, his executive order read. Transgender Americans were a central target of Trump's often hyperbolic and false campaign trail messaging.
No, it wasn't.
He also rescinded a Biden administration provision that allowed transgender people to serve in the military. He did not immediately ban trans military personnel from serving as he did under his first administration, but he paved the path to revive the ban. Keith, no, Todd, let's start with you.
okay. This is just basic common sense. If a person is born with both sexes, what are they?
Todd.
So if they're born with both sexes, what are they?
Hermaphrodites.
So they're no longer human?
Nobody said they weren't human.
Well, what is he saying?
He's saying that people go through the operations, the transgender operation, and they pretend to be one thing or the other. Hermaphrodites not
You're
pretending.
making this up. Now you're just babbling.
All right.
I said people who are born with both sexes are what?
He said what they are. Hermaphrodites.
What are they? So are they not allowed in the military?
I don't know. But they're not they're not transgender. So I imagine they can get in the military.
Just a minute, Stephen.
They're not transgender.
Okay, so now we're not talking about people with both sexes now, are we? What are we talking about specifically? He said there's only male and female. And that's it. So he's leaving out a whole group of people, isn't he?
How many, like 3 in the world?
Oh,
10?
fabulous. You see that? That was great, Stephen, because this is the argument I was giving to you with your dumb self when you and your boy toy keep saying, oh, they go in bathrooms, the bathroom issues. I said, no, there is no bathroom issue. And Trump did an interview with Meet the Press where he said, I'm not worried about that. I don't care where these people go to the bathroom.
In the world of real problems, what are you talking about?
This is what I was asking you idiots. That's all you and your boy toy talk about. Transgender. They got bathrooms. Trump doesn't even care about it. Trump said,
this is Jerry Springer right here, Stacey.
Trump said, I don't care.
Okay, so what's your point, Todd? Because we got to move on.
He wants to piss in the women's bathroom.
Keith and Stephen made it a big issue. And I said to them, how many trans people are there playing basketball on high school teams. They didn't know. And so I told them, how many trans people in America are there? Remember, Keith and Stephen, you're the people who said, they're playing on girls' teams and it's not fair. I said, how many? How many?
I said, why do we have to bend over backwards for just a few people is what I said at the time. I said, why do we have to bend over backwards for these people? Why can't they just,
you did not.
assimilate with the
You did not.
99% of us out here or
Anyway, he didn't
98%
say
of
that.
us?
I said it's
I
less
did
than
say
1%.
that. I did say that.
So that's not even an issue. I'm not going to discuss it. So I wouldn't fall for their tricks. I said, I'm not discussing something that's a non-issue. That's what Fox News is for. They keep pushing this down the throats of American people.
All right,
Trans people, trans people. And Trump.
It's funny you use that kind of language.
Trump said, I don't care. I'm not interested. He said, it's not that many of them. So I don't care. That's what Donald Trump said. Finally, after he campaigned on this. So it's a non-issue, but Trump just now excluded people and said it's either male or female. And that's not true. That has never been true in the world.
Okay. Thank you. We're almost out of time. We only have a few minutes left. Let's do our roundtable, and I want everyone to
wait. Did we discuss the three things that he did with the pardoning of the criminals?
Yes, we said that.
Who, Joe Biden?
Did we do the 14th Amendment?
No, that's what we can do now.
Well, how about Joe Biden How about Joe Biden pardoning? How about Joe Biden pardoning people who have committed no crime, not committed no crime, who have never been charged for a crime? Well, who does that? People who are admitting these people are guilty.
Tell you who does that? You
the people that admit they are guilty.
Does that? That's people that are watching out for a dictator.
That's an admission of guilt. If you ain't been charged, why do you need a pardon? Why do you need a pardon? You are the most corrupt we have ever been. The corrupt 4 years that this country's ever seen.
Stephen, let him answer the question. You asked him. Let him answer.
I'm not answering him.
He did. He's making up. No, nobody's ever done this before. You don't pardon people that are not in jail or haven't been charged for anything. None of these. Look at this. Hey, Stacey. January 6 people got a pardon. Stacey, that tells you right there. You got to think for yourself. Oh, why do they need a pardon? They haven't been charged with anything. It's not because Donald Trump's coming after them. It's because they're guilty as hell. They threw away stuff. They took people's that were
he's so crazy. Look at him.
I can't even think the word. Speaking to the witnesses. They were tampering with witnesses. They were they threw out all their notes. They threw everything away because they are corrupt. That was not a real committee because they had Republicans on there, but they didn't have our Republicans. You cannot have a committee like that.
Our Republicans.
But that shows you, Stacey, that January 6th committee was a jam. And our federal government, set up January 6th because our federal government stole the election in 2020.
They refused
our federal government stole.
Thank you. I'm going to move on. This is our roundtable discussion. Look at the screen, please. The Democratic attorneys generals sue over Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. January 21st, 2025, by Brian Mann. The day after President Trump signed an executive order that aims to end birthright citizenship, a group of 17 Democratic state attorneys general joined the legal fight to block the move, describing it as unconstitutional.
So?
What the president did yesterday is unlawful, unconstitutional, and it will not stand. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin said, "We are a state of immigrants. Millions of people in our state have obtained their citizenship through birthright citizenship. It's the story of our state and the story of America, and it's enshrined in our U.S. Constitution for a reason." Let's start with Keith, then Stephen, then Cousin Todd. Legally, can President Trump sign an executive order changing a U.S. constitutional amendment?
Yeah.
The U.S.
14th, the 14th Amendment is clear, and it says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States or are citizens of the state wherein they reside. Now, that has to do with jurisdiction. This whole thing is about jurisdiction. That's what they should be arguing in the court. That's probably what they will be arguing. And that anyone who understands history, American history, knows that the 14th Amendment, and I'm surprised that Todd is not a champion on my side for this, but the 14th Amendment was grafted for exclusively for former black slaves, black Americans, African Americans who were slaves were suddenly given citizenship after the 13th Amendment, which was the freedom that they had obtained, and against slavery. So that's what the purpose of the 14th Amendment was, to seal that and say that we are now citizens. And then, of course, the 15th Amendment came after that, giving them the right to vote. So this was exclusively for black previously enslaved. And I don't know, I don't understand why Todd doesn't, jump on this as something that he really should protect. He really should defend. And now they're trying to use it for everybody, trying to use it for all people that are illegal aliens that come into the country illegally. So I don't get it. I don't know
Okay.
why, Todd. Maybe Todd will answer the question there.
Thank you. Stephen.
I think we're finally getting a hold on the immigration problem in this country. I don't know if it's going to work. What he's doing here is, that may just be something to rattle everybody. I'm not really sure. But it would take a lot more steps than just. I think he can sign a piece of paper and go for a little while, whatever. But it's going to be hung up in court like they did. But the other things that he's doing is really positive for this country. He's getting all the dirt bags that came in here unfettered and that are causing all kinds of problems. They're going to get them out of here first. So that's a really, really good thing. And we all should be happy for that. And as a country, everybody around this whole country doesn't need to be terrorized or upset by these people that come in our country that have no business here. So we all should be for that. And, they stay here for free. They get health care for free. And they live for free. They get food for free. They get free money, free everything. That should really piss everybody off. But on the left, it doesn't. They're like, that's great. Oh, I can't get a hotel room that's $1,000 a night or whatever, but they got a family living in there from another country. I don't get it. Or I'm a vet and I'm homeless in New York and they got all these illegal people living nice and I'm living in a 5-degree weather and I can't find nothing to eat. And you like that in this country, then there's something really wrong with you. If you don't like the people in this country, people that serve this country, people that live in this country, people worked in this country all their life, you prefer people coming from other countries to getting everything for free, then there's something really, really wrong with you. And you're the same kind of people that think it's okay to go in schools and terrorize Jewish little kids, Jewish people, little Jewish girls, spit on them, fight them, beat them up because they're Jewish. That's the same kind of mentality. I don't understand it. Why is it so hard to believe that we should be good, decent Americans and watch out for each other, all of us? And not bring tons of people from other countries that hate us into our country. That's retarded, Todd. That's what Todd did. That's retarded thinking.
Okay, we don't say those
You got to
words
be a better
anymore.
American than
Those people are disabled, and we say they're mentally disabled. We don't say retarded. That is
no, retard. He's retarded, not retarded. He's retarded. Yeah, I can say that. I can say any words. I say any words I want, Stacey. It's not a bad word.
He can say any words he wants. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's a little bit retarded.
Let me.
That's a Trump supporter.
Let me share my screen. I want you all to see this and then maybe comment.
If the parents are from another country, then the kids are also from another country.
Right.
Mr. President.
Oh, man, not this.
What in the world?
I told the nation yesterday you have felt the
Here we go,
providential
Todd.
hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you
Our God.
to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
Wow.
And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll start with Keith, then Stephen, then Todd. Do you think she was appealing and asking for mercy to President Trump, or do you think she was trying to be smart and get him?
Keith.
Well, obviously she was being political, and that was a service. That's very interesting. No separation of church and state anymore, I guess. That's okay with me. Okay, so if you don't want to separate church and state, then I'll close with this scripture. This is a scripture. She said that God would be compassionate. Well, in this scripture, it says in Numbers. She didn't cite a scripture, by the way, but I'm going to cite this. These are the instructions that apply to both the native-born Israelites and the foreigners living among you who want to please the Lord with sacrifices of offering. And it says, there is the same law for all. There is the same law for all, native born or foreigner. And this shall be, it says, true forever from generation to generation. All are equal before the Lord. Now, having said that, the same law that is for us is for them, meaning gay. All right, Todd, you'll love this. God wants us to treat gays equally according to the law. Now, what does the law say? The law forbids homosexuality. The law says that that is a sin, and God does not like it. Therefore, God is not in favor of homosexual lifestyles or homosexual activity. All right, so that's what I rest my case on. I stand on the structure that is born this country, like that black man that was at the inauguration, that black preacher. I love the way he prayed. I love it. He says that the Lord is our God. He's the God of this nation, and
Yeah.
he forbids that. So to God, that is detestable. So
Right.
we need to have the same laws for us that we would have for them, and that is the law. So there we go. You can
Thank
go
you.
against it if you want.
Stephen.
Yeah, why don't we show that guy, Keith? I mean, he's a real
Yeah.
representation of somebody
Yeah.
who believes in Christ. I don't know what this
Yes.
garbage was. If I was Trump and
Yeah.
everybody else in there, I would have got up and walked out. And that's,
Well,
it
yeah.
stoked the fear. Oh, please, these transgenders and gays, where they're all scared now. Treating him like a leader of a Muslim country that kills
Yeah.
gay people. That's how
Yeah.
that's how she's treating them. Oh, please have mercy. Please, God have mercy. No, go somewhere, woman. Go somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't deserve to be there. I don't know. I know they have a lot of things to set up, but they should have vetted this person just a little bit better. And she's also a Trump hater. She's a known Trump hater. So,
Yeah.
that's somewhat, for some reason, people hate him. He's never done anything against gay people. He's never done anything against
Yeah.
trans people.
And
He's
Stephen,
never
by
done
the way,
anything mean to
Stephen.
anybody. But she's going to talk to him like that. She's
Yeah.
a piece of crap. And this
And
is why the
Stephen,
Bible, this is why religion is always set up that you have a man in that position. You put a man in that
Yep.
position, and women have their
Yep.
rights and their rules and the things they do in church, and the men have the things and their rules and their responsibilities they do in church. The woman ain't got no business opening her mouth in the first place. She doesn't even have business being in that building. She shamed herself in front of God.
And
Okay,
notice
thank
we
you.
didn't bring it up, Stephen. Todd's always accusing us of bringing up this issue.
And where's
We
all
didn't
this
bring it up.
abuse of gay people and stuff? Where's all this? It's not the abuses of Jewish people in this country that's through the roof. It's not
Thank
that gay
you.
people don't
Thank
have
you,
nothing to fear.
Cousin Todd.
That's the best you sounded all night.
We can't hear you. You put yourself on mute, Todd.
Okay. I think Stacy could hear this
No, I could
ignorant, racist,
Oh.
bigoted, sexist imbecile say that women have their roles and she shouldn't be up there preaching because only men should preach.
I didn't make the rules.
Look, do you hear this? This is a Trump supporter. This is what Trump supporter looks like. I didn't make the rules, just follow them. And for this woman to say, these people are afraid. They are afraid of Trump. They don't know what he might do next.
He was there for 4 years.
When Trump, yeah, but there were guardrails then. When Trump took office, he said he wanted to ban this abortion syndrome. Everybody's getting abortions. He wants the Supreme Court to overturn it. And that's what they did. And because abortions, Stephen and Keith think, oh, a girl goes to a party and gets pregnant by a stranger, then she wants an abortion. What about the women who don't do that? What about the women who are married and want to have a child, but when they get pregnant and they get an ultrasound, they find out they have Powder syndrome. Do you know what Powder syndrome is, Stephen or Keith?
It's the mother did cocaine.
No. See, I can imagine you would think that because you hate women just like Keith hates women. But no, Powder syndrome is a disease that affects the baby through no fault of anybody. And so the woman wanted to have an abortion because the baby had Powder syndrome. Now, I know you think, oh, let her just have the baby. But children with Powder syndrome, they live between minutes after being born and hours. And she didn't want that. She didn't want the baby to suffer like that, and she didn't want herself to suffer. But because of Donald Trump, she had to go ahead and deliver this baby. So she delivered the baby, which was blue. And then the nurse handed her the baby, and she held the baby, the blue baby, until the blue baby struggled to breathe for 3 hours and died, which is what Powder syndrome, you're expected to live either minutes or a few hours. So the baby gasped for air for 3 hours, trying to breathe.
Is it rare?
Is it rare? You see the stupidity? This is a
No, is it rare?
The screen, if you see it on the screen up there, it says it's a rare life-threatening condition.
Yeah, I had read it. I wondered if he did.
That this is a Trump supporter because that's just one of many, many, many rarities. There's babies that are anyway. That's just one.
So a million babies should be killed a year because of the rarities.
Hey, Todd, you said
Hey,
I
don't
hate
ask
women.
him a question.
Todd,
Don't ask him a question. We're out of time. He has to finish. Stop. Go ahead.
Todd said I hate women. Is he married to one? Have you ever married a woman, Todd? I'm married to a woman.
You ever kissed a woman?
You ever married a woman? I'm married to a woman.
Yeah, I know you.
I love women so much. I married 2 of them.
Yeah, and they stayed with you too, didn't they?
I married them at the same time.
Until you fell in love with somebody else.
Another woman. Another woman.
The other way, Todd.
Stacy, has Todd ever married a woman?
No.
Todd, he's right there.
He won't answer it.
Well, what can I do about that?
Well,
So
you're his cousin.
anyway,
I thought you might know. Thought you might know.
now let me say this. That's what Trump did. So now Trump has pushed somebody up that hates women and has been accused of raping a woman, and he wants to put this man over the military, where women are raped in the military, left, right, and sideways, and they're expecting him to protect him.
He's got daughters,
This
and he's
man was
married to a woman.
accused of rape, and the woman said he blocked the door with his body and would not let me leave. And I repeatedly said, no, no, no.
Did he get convicted? Did he get convicted? Did he go to court? Did he get convicted or anything?
No, he didn't get convicted. You know
Somebody,
why?
Stacy could accuse me of
Because
rape.
the FBI is white Republican.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They've always
No,
been
they're
white
not.
and Republican.
No, they're not.
Now you can try to change history if you want,
No.
but ever since the FBI was invented, it was white and Republican.
Okay, it's flipped. It has flipped.
So
not one of them was for rape, or not
the
one of
FBI
them
and the CIA
was for
has
a
been
woman.
weaponized to go against the Republicans.
So then he paid the woman to keep her mouth shut.
35 counts.
And
37
so
counts, I think.
now, and his own mother said what a womanizing piece of crap he is. His own mother. And so this is who Trump picks to be over the military. Now, why couldn't he pick anybody with experience? Anybody. This man doesn't know what he's doing, has no experience, and he's going to be over millions of people. It's silly and ridiculous.
And Joe Biden
is a disaster. It is a disaster waiting to happen.
Why are they signing up for the military right now? Why are they in droves? Why are they signing up?
First of all, they're not. You've got
They
that
are.
from Fox News.
Yeah,
and
they
they're
are.
not signing up in droves. The only people signing up are white boys. Surprise.
They don't count. White boys don't count. White lives don't count.
We are out of time.
They're lining up. White boys are lining up because I'm telling you the facts. The facts are white boys are lining up, not women, because now women are afraid. I know you.
I guess the white boys are the ones that love their country enough to join up.
No, the white boys are the racists that says, "Oh, our great white hope is in office." And so now
Joe Biden was white. They didn't think he was a white hope.
No, because Joe Biden was fair and intelligent.
No, he was not intelligent at all. If you think he's intelligent, that shows your intelligence.
This boy is a common criminal and has always been a common criminal.
Common criminal is a criminal family of Joe Biden who pardoned his family before they were accused of anything. That's your criminal right there. It's the Joe Biden family. They're a criminal organization.
When you've got a nut job.
They are the most corrupt. That is the most corrupt organization we've had since Barack Hussein Obama was in office.
Oh, Barack was a criminal too. You
criminal.
Pig.
Absolutely criminal.
I understand.
Oh, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is white, but you didn't call me a racist pig.
Right,
so if I say anything against Obama, I'm a racist. That shows how stupid you are.
Yeah,
that shows how stupid. The only racist is you. The only racist is you. Because I bring up Obama.
Okay, thank you. To our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do in sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever comes off the top of our head.
Oath keepers.
Forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna, the voice of reason, who's not with us tonight, Stephen, the independent thinker,
the psychopath,
Keith, constitutional conservative,
the white lover,
and my cousin Todd. I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on a lot of channels. We're back on TikTok at Sporlitiks.com on TikTok, Sporlitiks on X, Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and matter since 2011 on YouTube. Please like
mix and wait.
Mix and mingle. Yeah, can you believe I said that?
And you said that before too. Somebody said you said that before.
Oh, can you believe? I can't believe it. We're Sporlitiks mix and mingle since 2011. It's written, so I definitely messed up. It's written.
That's all right, Stacey.
2011. on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Also, check us out on Twitch and Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network and Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle, since 2011 on Instagram. I think I got all of them. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Now you know what you somebody said you did that before.
I can't believe it. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, somebody said you did that. I think last week or the week
Oh
before.
wow, I
last.
didn't realize you guys didn't catch it. I'm glad you caught it.
YMCA.
Right. And so, oh look, that's your national anthem, huh? You and Keith. Well, never mind. Just forget I said anything.
You know, I didn't even know those guys are not gay. I didn't even know that. I mean, I didn't know. That's what I didn't know that, Stephen. I thought that they were gay.
I think they might be, Keith, but whatever, man. As long as they put out good music, nobody really cares.
Look at this. Why is this a conversation? Why
the guy who wrote it said it's not a song about being gay. The guy who wrote it said it's not a song about being gay.
Look, listen at them.
Yeah.
Why they're consumed with gay people. This is amazing to me. This is all they ever discuss.
I'm just trying to get him straight.
Anyway, okay. Listen, I've got to get out of here.
For sports and politics, mix and mingle.
I can't believe you said that. And that just, I don't get it. I don't get it. That was a stolen line.
Yeah, they stole it from us because we've been doing it since 2011.
And changed it to mix and matter, as opposed to, which I used to laugh at. And then you had the nerve to say it twice.
I didn't realize I said it.
I didn't know what the problem was. I didn't know that's what they were saying, mix and matter. Oh, that's hilarious.
That's terrible.
And I have to say, Stacey, you look very beautiful tonight. I have to say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So she
thank
did
you, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth knows.
You're making Todd jealous. You better say something about how good Todd looks.
Oh my gosh. No, you're the one that gets jealous, Stephen.
I didn't tell him to say how good I look.
No, because you know you look like the devil.
I don't have a jealous bone in my body.
How does he know what the devil looks like? Anyway.
He's got mirrors.
Listen, how do you know what the devil looks like? I'm going to take up for him every chance I get, because after all,
I always thought the devil would be a woman. I think the devil's probably a woman.
Yeah,
of course
you're right.
You would, because you're
right.
racist.
Just based on my two ex-wives.
He's a transgender, maybe. Transgender.
Here we go again. He's stuck on it. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Now, this is what I meant to ask you. You always having a field day on gay people, which you love to do, which I understand. No problem. I understand that well. But you said God in the Bible, God is against it. Is God against liars?
Yes.
Well, why don't you ever discuss that?
Well, because
he hates them even more.
Let me answer his question this way.
I never hear him say anything about liars. I just always hear him say gay.
Todd, I'll send you a Bible.
I'll answer your question this way. The Bible does indeed say it is sin, but there are a lot of other sins. Heterosexual sins, and there are gay sins.
Why don't you ever talk about any of them?
My point
you never talk about any of them. Only gay.
Well, that's because they are the ones that are infringing on our lives. Okay,
what?
So
not the liars.
Agenda.
Not
no.
The
liars.
Okay.
The liars. Bye, God hates lying, and God hates all of these sins.
That would
but
be
guess
you.
What? God loves the sinner, and He loves.
You
gay
don't
people.
say that. You don't say that when you're talking about gay people. Only about liars now.
I say it.
Bye, Felicia. Felicia, I've got to go
because. But Felicia, that was a very. I have to admit that was a very unusual. That was a very unusual service, though. And Trump said it was a terrible service.
It was awful. He should have walked out. That was so rude and so unnecessary. He should have walked out.
Yeah. And you know,
That's
all
not
the
rude.
Trump.
It's realistic.
It's
It
not. It
is.
was
family
This
was
nasty.
is
there.
exactly what the Pope said. You dumb black
The
loogies.
Pope is an a-hole. It's the worst Pope in the world. He may be the Antichrist.
Did you
The
hear
Pope
him?
may be the Antichrist.
And
He is
look,
the
look
worst
at this
Pope we've
devil.
ever had. He's the worst
Don't
Pope we've ever had.
don't
Okay,
mute him.
Stephen, you're talking your opinion. You're not talking on behalf of Sporlitiks or Sports and Politics Mix and Mingle.
No, I think I'm speaking for
That's
Keith
your
too.
opinion.
No.
I think Keith believes me as well. He is the biggest disappointment, the biggest piece of garbage it's ever had to be a Pope.
And
I
now
don't
he's
understand what
talking
they're
about
doing.
a Pope, and that is disgraceful. And
No, what
Stacey,
he's
you
doing
need
is
to
disgraceful. Going
you
against
need to
God, the
get
way he
him.
goes against God is disgraceful.
Do you see that? He's going against the
You
Pope.
know God more than the Pope, Todd.
He is beyond sick. This
Oh
boy is
God.
beyond sick. And then this fake Christian down here would tolerate him saying the Pope is full of crap. And
Full of crap. He's nothing but a man. The Pope ain't nothing but a man, and he's full of crap. There have been good popes, and there have been awful popes, and he's an awful Pope. I ain't putting him on a pedestal just because he's the Pope. He's a man. He's a man just like Keith, just like me, just like you, Todd.
Bye,
Wow.
Felicia. I gotta
All right,
go.
good night.
Stephen is right.
Good night.
Stephen, I agree with